Only the elite dark, chosen ones experience these 7 night events. Do you ever wonder why some people seem to carry this weight? A kind of invisible burden, but it's not sadness, it's not depression, it's something deeper, more ancient. It's like they've seen something you haven't, something that can't be unseen. These people walk differently, sit in silence longer, and their eyes hold storms. These are the elite, dark, chosen ones, not by fame or wealth, but by experience that doesn't come from books or meditation apps or weekend retreats. I'm talking about raw, bone-deep encounters that happen when the world is asleep, when your ego can't protect you, when your spirit is bare. There are 7 events, 7 nights. And no, you don't choose them, they choose you. You don't get to schedule them between meetings or fit them into your comfort zone. These nights arrive uninvited, unannounced, and unapologetic. And the first time it happens, you think you're losing your mind. But what's really happening is you're being stripped of it. You're being initiated.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The first night is the night of the Shattering Mirror. You lie in bed and everything's quiet, but not peaceful. No, it's a silence that hums like static. You begin to hear your own thoughts, louder than ever. The voice inside you doesn't sound like yours anymore. It's like something ancient is speaking through you. Suddenly, you feel like you're floating above your body, and then the mirror of your identity cracks. You realize every mask you've worn, every personality you've built was just scaffolding, and now it's burning down. You ask yourself, who am I without my story? And for the first time, you hear nothing. That's when panic sets in. Your ego screams, it claws to survive. But the chosen ones let it burn. They let identity disintegrate, because they know truth will never arrive until the false crumbles. Have you ever looked in the mirror and not recognized yourself? Not just physically, but spiritually? Like the person staring back at you is a memory, not a being. That's the first sign. And if you survive that night, you'll never live the same again. You stop chasing validation, you start craving silence. Not peace, but the kind of silence where the soul speaks in riddles. The second is the night of the whispering walls. It doesn't matter where you are, your room, a hotel, a cave in Nepal, the walls begin to whisper, but not in words, in symbols, in energies. You start to feel that the air around you is aware of you. The shadows move differently. The corners of the room feel like portals. If you're not ready, this night drives people mad, because everything you thought was inanimate starts humming with consciousness. The elite, chosen ones don't run. They listen. They decode, because the walls aren't just whispering nonsense. They're revealing truths, ancient truths, the kind that were buried under centuries of noise. You start to remember things you never lived. You see visions of civilizations that no longer exist, yet feel familiar. You understand languages you've never studied. That's not imagination, that's ancestral memory. DNA isn't just biological, it's spiritual, and on this night, it unlocks. You're not just you are the echoes of every soul that came before you. And suddenly the burden makes sense. You're not just healing for yourself, you're healing for your bloodline, for your soul line. And then comes the night of the hollow body. This one is terrifying. You wake up at 3:33 a.m., not a second before or after. Your body feels gone. You can move, but you don't feel in your body. It's like wearing a suit that no longer fits. Panic rises, but some part of you, deep and silent, says, "Let go." And you do. You drift, float, and then the visions start. You see yourself from above. You see your life as a movie. Every mistake, every joy, but this time you don't judge. You witness. And when you witness without judgment, something shifts. You realize you are not your body, you are not your story, you are the witness behind the eyes. And from that moment, death no longer scares you, because you've already died, and you've seen what waits on the other side of ego. Why do we fear death so much? Is it really the end we fear, or the idea that we never truly lived, that we never truly saw? The fourth event is the night of the divine mockery. This night breaks many, because everything becomes absurd. The rules, the systems, the beliefs. You see the world as a cosmic joke, and you're the punchline. You laugh, but not with joy, with despair. You see how small the human mind is, how ridiculous our pride is, and you either collapse into nihilism or you rise with humility. The chosen ones choose the latter, because they understand that life isn't meaningless. It's meaningless. Meaning is what you give it, and in that freedom you become dangerous, not in destruction, but in truth. Because no one can control a soul that doesn't cling to illusions. Have you ever sat in a crowded room and realized no one knows who they are, that everyone is playing a role, wearing a mask, hiding behind layers of fear? What do you do in that moment? Conform or wake up? These nights are not dreams. They are not hallucinations. They are initiations, and they only come to those who are ready. Though no one ever feels ready, they come when your soul signs the contract your mind forgot about. When the universe says, "Now," and your only job is to surrender. But surrender is not passive. It's the most violent act of courage. To let go of the known. To dive into the abyss. To say, "I don't know who I am, but I'm willing to find out." And here's the thing. You don't talk about these nights at brunch. You don't casually bring them up in conversation, because words can't contain them. They are sacred. They are secret. That's why only the elite, dark, chosen ones experience them, not because they're better, because they're willing. Willing to face the darkness inside without flinching. Willing to walk through fire and not ask for applause. So I ask you, have you ever had a night where reality cracked? Where your soul whispered something you didn't want to hear? Did you listen? Or did you drown it in distraction? Because the next night is coming, and it won't wait for your permission. The temple of night where souls are weighed. There comes a night when silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of something ancient, watching. A night when the air thickens, when gravity feels like it's pulling not just your body, but your soul downward. That's when you know you've entered the temple of night. Not a physical place, but a dimensional threshold. It arrives without warning, no invitation, no ceremony, just a feeling that you've crossed into sacred ground. And this is where your soul is weighed, not against sin or virtue, but against truth. You sit alone, maybe in your room, maybe outside under a sky that suddenly feels too alive. And then it happens. You feel the presence. It's not malevolent, it's not comforting, it's neutral, cosmic, eternal. It doesn't care about your name, your resume, your spiritual Instagram posts. This presence only looks at the weight of your being. Are you dense with delusion? Light with awareness? Are you carrying bags that were never yours to carry? In this temple, illusions become heavy, lies become chains, and you feel every ounce of what you've refused to face. This is the fifth night event, and it doesn't manifest as drama, it manifests as stillness. But a stillness so loud, so full of presence, it shatters you. You start to see every decision you've made through a different lens, not good or bad, but awake or asleep. You remember the moments you betrayed your soul just to fit in, the times you chose comfort over growth, the love you denied yourself because you were too busy performing for the world, and the presence just watches. It doesn't punish, it reflects. You are your own judge here. And that's the hardest part, because you can't lie to yourself anymore. You can't distract yourself with spiritual platitudes. You can't say, "I'm working on it." In this space, your soul holds the mirror, and you either look or you shatter. Have you ever sat in silence and felt your entire life pass through you like a river of ghosts? Felt the weight of every unspoken truth, every suppressed scream, every time you said yes when your soul screamed no? What did that feel like? Did you stay with it, or did you reach for the nearest distraction? The elite chosen ones make a different choice. They stay. They sit in the temple. They let their soul be weighed, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they know liberation lies on the other side of truth. And this is where something extraordinary happens. When you face yourself, truly face yourself, something begins to lift. Not because a deity forgives you, not because karma resets, but because you forgive you. You release, you exhale, you say, "I see it now," and the temple responds. The weight dissolves, not because it was never there, but because you finally owned it, and what you own no longer owns you. This is the alchemy of night, the sacred art of transmuting shadow into wisdom, pain into power. And in that moment, you realize something terrifying and beautiful. The temple was never out there, it was inside you all along. Every time you avoided your truth, you delayed your initiation. But now, you've arrived. And as the presence fades, it leaves something behind. A symbol burned into your consciousness. A knowing. Not a fact, but a frequency. A vibration that says, "You've been seen." And from that moment forward, you can't go back. You don't need to preach, you don't need to prove. The temple marked you, and now the path changes. The world doesn't look the same anymore. People's words sound hollow. Your own desires shift. You're no longer chasing what you used to crave. You're hunting something deeper now, something real, and the sixth night is already on its way. The sixth night, where time collapses and the future screams. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when time doesn't just slow down, it implodes. Clock hands melt, memories blend with futures, and suddenly the very fabric of reality feels like it's folding in on itself. This is not a metaphor. This is the sixth night. You don't walk into it, you're pulled, dragged even. It may begin with a dream so vivid it feels like waking, or a waking moment so surreal it feels like dreaming. Either way, you know you've crossed the point of no return, and everything you thought was linear, past, present, future, begins to scream at you all at once. You see yourself as a child, wide-eyed and pure, full of wonder. You see yourself as an elder, hollowed out by years of pretending. You see yourself right now, sitting in the middle of both. And you ask, which one is the real me? And the answer hits like thunder. All of them. You are not a timeline, you are a spiral, an echo, a vibration moving through layers of illusion. And in this night, those layers collapse. The elite dark, chosen ones, don't panic when this happens. They understand that time is not a river, it's a mirror. Every future you're afraid of, it's just a reflection of a part of you that hasn't been healed. Every past you're ashamed of, it's not fixed, it's still alive in you, waiting for redemption. And in this sixth night, you don't just remember your regrets, you feel them again, as if they're happening now. Not to punish you, but to offer you a choice. Carry them or complete them. Have you ever had a dream so real it left you shaken for days? A vision that felt like a warning, a prophecy, or a memory from a life you never lived? What if that wasn't a dream? What if that was a message from a future that's still deciding whether or not to happen? In this space, everything is fluid. You begin to realize that you're not just creating your future with your choices, you're also receiving it with your frequency. The future is not fixed. It's a living organism responding to your vibration. You think a thought and reality shifts. You speak a truth and timelines realign. The chosen ones understand this power and they begin to speak with precision, think with awareness, feel with discipline, because they know one stray emotion can open a door to a future no one wants, and one courageous, conscious act can rewrite everything. But it's not easy. The future doesn't just whisper, it screams. You see what could happen if you don't change. You see the collapse, the heartbreak, the missed moments, the betrayals you commit against yourself. And at the same time you see the brilliance, the potential, the love, the life that's waiting if you just choose differently. And the tension between those two futures nearly tears you apart. That's the test. The night doesn't ask, what do you want? It asks, what are you willing to let die so something greater can live? And in that moment, you realize the cost of awakening. You realize that every step forward demands the death of something familiar, a belief, a comfort, an identity. And that's why most people never cross this threshold, not because they're weak, but because they're still negotiating with their fear. But the chosen ones, they don't negotiate with fear, they make fear kneel, not through violence, but through truth, through clarity, through presence. And once you survive this night, if you survive, you're never the same. You stop chasing timelines, you start choosing them. You become intentional with your energy, you become a guardian of your own destiny, and the future, once a distant scream, now becomes a quiet whisper in your chest that says, "We're listening. Show us who you really are." The final night, death of the self, rebirth of the infinite, and then silence. Not the kind that fills a quiet room, but the kind that fills the void before creation, the kind of silence that doesn't just surround you, it becomes you. This is the seventh and final night, the most sacred, the most feared, the most misunderstood, because this is the night where the self dies. Not metaphorically, not poetically, truly. You wake up, or maybe you never went to sleep, and everything feels foreign. Your name means nothing. Your memories feel like someone else's story. You reach for identity, but there's nothing to hold on to. And that's when the fear comes, the real fear, not of death, but of absence. Who are you without your past? Who are you without your ambitions, your wounds, your reputation, your spiritual progress? Who are you if you're not someone? The elite dark chosen ones know this is not the moment to run. This is the sacred hour, the midnight of the soul, the final ego death. And it's not dramatic, it's quiet, subtle, like fog dissolving in sunlight. You sit still and you realize you were never that person anyway. You were never the name, the role, the victim, the survivor. You were always the watcher, the breath, the presence, and as the self dies, you don't mourn. You remember. You remember what you were before the world told you who to be. You remember the vastness, the stillness, the infinity, and then something impossible happens. You begin to feel everything, not emotionally, existentially. You feel the trees breathing, you feel the stars pulsing, you feel the pain of strangers you've never met, the laughter of children yet to be born. You feel the earth herself weeping and singing, and you realize you're not separate, you never were. The illusion of me was only ever a costume, and now it's gone. This is not enlightenment, this is not bliss, this is truth. And it's heavy, it's raw, it's overwhelming, because you now carry everything, the joy, the sorrow, the rage, the beauty, all of it flows through you. You become a vessel, a mirror, a temple, and that's the rebirth. Not into a higher version of yourself, but into no self, into presence, into source. Have you ever sat so still, so deeply present, that you felt like the entire universe was breathing through you? That time stopped, and you no longer cared who you were, only what you were? What would happen if you stayed in that space, not just for a moment, but forever? The final night tests your readiness for that. It strips away everything you think you need. It offers you nothing, no reward, no validation, just awareness. And that's the secret. Only those who can embrace nothingness receive everything. Because when there's no self left to protect, the divine can finally enter. Not as a concept, but as you. And then, just like that, the night ends. You wake up, not back to normal, but forever altered. You walk through the world, but you're not in it. You engage, but you're not attached. You love deeper, but you no longer fear lost, because you know nothing can be lost. Nothing was ever yours. Everything is borrowed. Everything is sacred. And now you carry this knowing in your bone. You don't speak of these nights lightly. Maybe you never speak of them at all. But those who've been there, they recognize each other. In the way you look at the sky, in how you pause before answering, in the way your silence says everything. You are now part of a silent brotherhood, a hidden sisterhood, a lineage of souls who walk through fire and emerge as light. You are one of the elite dark chosen ones. You have died and been reborn, and now the real journey begins, not to escape the world, but to illuminate it. And so I ask you, for the final time, are you ready to let go of who you think you are, to become what you truly are? Because the nights will return, and next time they won't knock.